Hey guys, welcome back. It's Tasha.
And it's Amy.
And we are excited for this episode of Simple Soul. Back with a little bit edgier topic, something a little bit outside of our box, but we're going to go there today. Please make sure your children are not listening.
Yeah, if you have this on in the car and your kids in the back seat, I promise you are not going to want them to hear parts of this.
Yep, so be prepared for a little bit more explicit conversation.
And we brought beers. We told you last time we were going to do some cheers and have a beverage as we were doing this. So please feel free to join us if you are at home, not in your car, or a glass of wine.
All right, so let's get started.
Okay, go for it.
First of all, I want to ask you the question.
What book are we on?
Well, okay, so we'll start there.
Okay.
We are looking through a book called Everybody Lies. I'll move it forward there for you. Everybody Lies. It's called Big Data, New Data, and What the Internet Can Tell Us About Who We Really Are. Interesting.
So we first learned about this through Daniel Pink. If you are not a Daniel Pink fan, we would encourage you to check out not only his books, but he also has a 90-second Pinkcast that he does, and he featured actually in one of his new podcasts this particular author and book. So,
and I would actually say he was one of our inspirations when we got started in this whole journey through podcasting. So a shout out to Daniel Pink for sure. Absolutely. This book here is written by Seth Stephens-Davidowitz, and he really dives into some big data and what social media and Google can kind of tell us about who we really are. So let's start with the first one.
And we first want to mention too that this is totally not our norm reading. Like typically we read stuff about, I read a lot about trauma and mental health. And I mean, at any given time we could read about leadership or happiness or whatever it is. So when we first heard Daniel Pink talk about condom use, that definitely piqued our interest. And so we hurried and ordered the book, and boom, I had it done very fast because every page is just like, no, did it really say that? No way. He can't say that. Can he say that? He said it. So
very interesting read. So Amy, do people lie?
Years ago I would have said no. Years ago I felt like everybody was pretty good. And as I have aged, I don't know if it's because I'm becoming older, but I think people do lie. And I don't think people lie intentionally. I think sometimes people lie because it's really what they believe is their truth. Yeah. So is it really a lie?
Like a white lie?
Kinda.
So according to the book, and just kind of to summarize a piece of the book about 100 pages in, he basically quotes another person saying that about 1/3 of the time people lie in real life. Yeah. And so then when we talk about surveys and collecting data and those sorts of things, do people lie more? Do they lie less? And he sets out to kind of show us what the big data around Google and other sources can tell us about ourselves.
Yeah, and that maybe surveys really aren't as valid as sometimes we put as much stock into. So
let's dive into the one that Daniel Pink talked to us a little bit about condom use and sex.
Yeah, so I don't want to mess this up. So I'm just going to read it word for word because I really think the way he has it written, is truthful.
Yeah,
so
go for it.
Okay. He talks a little bit about sex. And it says, surveys cannot be trusted to tell us the truth about our sex lives. I analyzed data from the General Social Survey, which is considered one of the most influential and authoritative sources for information on Americans' behaviors. According to that survey, when it comes to heterosexual sex, women say they have sex on average 55 times per year.
So like once
weekly,
a week.
Yep.
Okay.
We won't get into our personal thoughts on that. Okay. And they're using a condom 16% of the time.
Okay.
This adds up to about 1.1 billion condoms used per year.
All right.
Okay, but heterosexual men.
Okay, time out.
Okay, so
I think it's going to be
more or less.
I mean, it's going to be more, right?
Okay.
All right, let's read it.
Heterosexual men say they use 1.6 billion condoms every year. So either they have safer sex, they believe, or they're having more sex. Or those numbers, by definition, would have to be the same, right? I mean, because if everybody's heterosexual here, so who's telling the truth, men or women? Who do you think?
Well, I would think it's women.
I did too, but it turns out neither of them are.
Okay.
So according to Nielsen, the global information and measurement company that tracks consumer behavior, fewer than 600 million condoms are sold every year. So everybody's lying. The only difference is by how much people are lying. So cracks me up
Yeah.
that somebody's actually tracking how many condoms are sold and then triangulating it to how much sex is actually happening supposedly with condoms.
So here's the deal. I mean, I honestly have always thought that men probably lie about how much sex they have. So
Yeah.
all this data was useful in the fact that it kind of proved a theory that maybe I already had or that many people already had. So that's kind
Right.
of the cool thing that this big data can do. It can take what we believe is theories or kind of what we think and prove it or disprove
Or
it.
disprove it, yeah.
Right.
Okay, so
All right.
okay, I got another one.
Okay.
And this one's a little bit more depressing, actually, literally.
Okay.
So, do you believe that warmer weather equals less depression?
Wow. I mean, I definitely think there's something to be said for sunshine
Okay.
and being outside. I know personally I'm happier in the spring and summer and fall months when I can be outside, but I don't know that there's a research correlation between how I think.
Well, let me
What
tell
is
you.
it? Okay.
So, in winter months, warm climates such as Hawaii have 40% fewer depression cases than the cold climates like
Okay.
Chicago. Okay. So, it does say that it decreases the incidence of depression. So, I mean, obviously, if we could all move to Hawaii, maybe we would, maybe we won't. I don't know what your personal preference would be. But I don't think that that's probably a realistic solution for most of
Yeah,
us.
for sure.
So, some things to consider is that right now we just had a bout of snow again. In April. Okay. We just had some nice warm weather and now we're back to snow. And when we talk about the seasonal affective disorder, the SAD,
Right.
it's real. It happens. It's out there for people. So
Right.
what are you doing to immerse yourself in positive thoughts? What are you doing to immerse yourself with vitamin D potentially
Yeah.
over the counter? What are you doing to make sure you're filling your soul up with good things that are not allowing you to become in that depressive state
Yeah.
from seasonal
Yeah,
stuff?
and taking advantage of those nice days when the sun is shining, whether you're outside or not, just sitting by the window and just enjoying the sun that is shining. Okay, so I'm gonna lighten the topic a little bit. Amy,
Yeah.
finish this sentence.
Yeah.
Consider like Google searches here. That's where we're going with this data.
Yep.
That's where he's going with this data.
Yep.
I want to have sex with what is the number one way you think that that's completed in a Google search?
Well, I know what the answer is because I read the book and because I learned about Freud in college. And it's funny because I thought everybody knew who Freud and Maslow and Pavlov and all that was or is, but it turns out that really isn't part of everyday college life. It's certain degrees that you get that. So I would say my mom because that's what Freud would
That's
say.
what the
And I
answer
studied
is.
Freud and
Yeah,
that's
you
the
studied
answer. And I read the book.
When I read that,
Yeah.
I wrote yikes next to that, right? And so basically it goes on to say that a few thousand people every year in the United States, we're talking about the United States, a few thousand every year admit to having an attraction to their mother.
Yeah, that's yikes.
Yeah, I mean, awesome.
Yikes.
All right, let's go on.
Okay.
Next topic.
So, next one is the top addictions searched in 2016 on Google.
Yeah. So
Not searched, I'm sorry. The top addictions reported
report it.
in Google in 2016.
So Amy says she's read the book. I'm about 3/4 the way through, and this is part of the book I haven't gotten to yet. So
Okay.
this is a true, I don't exactly know the answer according to the book. Top addictions, 2016. Well, I'm gonna say, in our area, or just from what I know, maybe drugs, alcohol.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yep. Drugs, alcohol. Give me more.
Oh, I don't know.
Gambling.
Okay, yeah, gambling.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sex. Porn.
I was gonna say porn, but I
Yeah,
wasn't
porn
sure.
actually
Yeah.
comes up a lot in this book.
Okay.
It's in some very disturbing
It
and sensual
is.
spots, and some a little bit like, wow,
Yeah.
did I really read that? Okay. Love,
Oh,
sugar,
yeah.
and Facebook.
Oh,
So 2016, that would be about right for Facebook.
Yeah.
I don't know that Facebook would probably be the top reported addiction today in 2018 depending upon what age group, the generations would be different. But yeah, those are it.
okay. So this piece of the book I found super fascinating. So in this part, he talks about the words that genders use, and that by analyzing words, Facebook posts, and others that adults, males and females, and all different age levels use, we can determine that men and women actually do talk differently and use different words. So men, according to the author, use a lot more swear words.
And these were searched.
Yeah.
That's how they got them and put into word clouds.
So use a lot more swear words, but they also use things like Xbox and football and government and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas women use more, I don't know, like excited words, happy, excited, shopping, hair. And they also tend to use the word so with
Multiple
O's
O's
than men, right?
Yeah.
And they also use more words like tomorrow and whatever, family, adorable, cute baby, whatever.
And lots of the heart, you know, where it's like that symbol with the 3.
Yep.
That came up big on the word clouds
Yep.
for females overall. So, and when you think about like emojis or any social media posts, the heart shows up a lot. So that's cool.
Yeah, and then interestingly, he even breaks it down to 19 to 22-year-olds and the words that they use, which you would assume would be different than you know, anybody above, but they use things like apartment, campus, studying, drunk, hungover, and also a few swear words in there too.
Yeah, and the biggest F word you can think of kind of falls right behind the word semester, which looks like that's the second most searched.
Yep.
23 to 29. What are they doing?
Well, at 23 to 29, when you think about what you're doing,
Yard work cracked me up.
Working. But I also like this. Beer comes
Beer,
up.
yes.
It's one of the words that they use often.
At work.
At work, yard work, enjoying, yeah. And then not quite as prominent, but still there, money, bills, those sorts of things. Which makes sense.
It does. So 30 to 65-year-olds, which I find really interesting. The biggest word is daughter.
Oh.
Sons don't even rate as high on that as...
They're like equal with friends.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
my kids,
sons, yeah. So prayer, God, you can tell the next part of somebody's life by the words that they're searching.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So I want to ask you about this term that he uses in the book.
Okay.
So he uses the word digital truth serum.
Yep.
What, from your perspective, like what does that mean to you? Because I think it's a pretty cool term.
Yeah, so I think about digital truth serum, and I'm going to give the example that I give when we talk about like just people using their devices in general.
Yeah.
So typically the smaller the device, the more intimate you are with that device. Mm-hmm. So if you have a cell phone, you tend to be willing to take more risks by doing things on a cell phone versus if you were on a big screen computer in the library that was maybe attached to a projector.
Right. Oh my goodness, yes.
I mean, the bigger your screen is and the potential bigger your audience is to see you typing it, the more truthful or the more conscientious you're going to be about what you put. Mm-hmm. But the smaller the device, the more intimate it feels. So the digital truth serum in my mind kind of is who you really are and what you're really thinking when you have that tinier device versus the big one.
Yeah, and so like, when I think about Google potentially being a digital truth serum, it's anonymous. Nobody's over my shoulder.
No.
I mean, I can be by myself on my cell phone or on my computer, and nobody knows it's me asking
Well, the other thing I think of is, how often do you Google something that you really don't care to know the answer to?
Right.
You don't. I mean, how often do you pick up a phone and think, I'm going to waste the next hour by searching stuff I don't really care about?
Right. You don't. It's something you really want to know about, but maybe you're not quite brave enough to talk about.
Yeah.
With your friends or family or your spouse even.
Well, see, and that's the thing about this opportunity today that we never had is years ago when we wanted to learn something that was private or maybe embarrassing, like we're going to talk about with some of these things.
Yeah.
You just maybe didn't find out, or maybe you'd take the Webster Dictionary and hope you could get it, or the Merriam Dictionary, whatever you had.
Right.
Nowadays, you can do one click in your car alone with your phone. Boom, you have an answer that you think nobody really knows you looked up. But I'm telling you, big data shows it's all being tracked.
And you have private settings now, too, on your cell phone. So, your history it's not there. So, anyway, so what does digital truth serum tell us about women and their insecurities or women in their bodies? What's it tell us?
So basically every year in the United States, there are more than 7 million searches looking into breast implants.
Wow.
7 million. But official statistics tell us that only 300,000 women go through the procedure annually. So we have a lot more people intrigued learning about it. Yeah. And that's the cool part about Google too, is that you can go learn about this stuff without going to a doctor's appointment for free before you decide to do it or not do it, right?
Yeah, and have and gain some knowledge so you can ask some questions if you do decide to go the next step and talk to a doctor. I think that's the coolest thing. Well, here, this piece I think this is great coupled with it. Google searches about one's wife and breast implants are evenly split, though, among men on how to persuade them to have them and perplexed on why she might want them.
Yeah.
So what that tells me is that the men in our lives, or the men in the lives of these women, or our, whatever in our lives, don't necessarily think we need breast implants. Both ways. Some do, some don't. But it's something that we want to know more about. So that's kind of cool.
So I'm going to ask you then.
Okay.
We're going to talk about women's breasts, but what about men's penis?
Yeah.
So what do men search?
Well, according to Seth, that is one of the common questions for Google.
It's the more common question.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, the question is, how big is my penis? And they actually tend to Google maybe more often than a ruler even to figure out
how big their penis is.
I don't know what they want Google to say back to them. How big is their penis?
And surprisingly, women are not searching about men's penis unless it's too big. That's the search that women are looking at in reference to penises. This book, I'm telling you, if you want to read more about that and vaginas and what women are searching, we're not going to spend a lot of time on it because we could really go down a rabbit hole here with this book. But it is one of those books, as you're reading these pages, I would say, oh my gosh,
well, look at
to read it.
I mean,
it's crazy. It's a fantastic read. Fantastic read. Okay, all right, so next. How do you think, so let's go back to social media because I'm really excited for us to do a social media podcast. Yeah. We keep talking about this, that we're going to do one, so maybe one day we will. But let's talk about women.
Okay.
And what they post about their husbands online. Give me the social media posts that women post about their husband.
Like things they say about them or how they describe them?
Both, yeah.
Okay, so if I was going to post about my husband, which I don't because that would really annoy him.
Yep.
I would probably say that he's helpful, that he is kind of the rock in our family.
Okay. What do you see often on social media? I don't know. People call their husbands the best.
The best, yeah.
What else?
Their soulmate, their
best
in love
friend,
with them, their best friend.
Amazing, the greatest, so cute. Okay. And those might be true, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm sure
on any given time, on any given day. But the anonymous searches tell us that they're actually searching if their husband is gay, that he's a jerk, that he's amazing. That's cool.
Okay.
That he's annoying.
Yeah, I could probably.
And that he's mean.
Yeah.
So I think it goes back to, again, you can paint whatever life you want and whatever picture you want on social media because we don't get to see the anonymous searches that people are doing after they post whatever they want their life to be perceived as. You know, and I'm not saying that all sappy posts are wrong or bad, but I think there's a whole lot of motivation behind why people post what they post.
Yeah. So. Well, and Seth even talks about how, and we can get into it a little bit later in another podcast, but like they, on social media, on Facebook and others, we present what we want people to see, but our Google searches are actually telling us more about the truth of what is really behind those.
You know, so then I'm gonna ask the question. So does that go to that little bit of white lie then? Because if I'm posting my dream life every day and I'm posting how wonderful it is, and do I believe then that that's really my life? And maybe my perception is that's what I really want it to be. So if I keep posting it, it's going to become that. I mean, there is a motivation behind every behavior that people do.
Right.
For sure, you know? And so, I don't know. I find it to be interesting.
I do too, yeah. I don't know. We'll have to dive into
that. And, you know, the other thing that we've talked a little bit about last time was that passive-aggressive behavior and the things that people use social media for that are really a dig at somebody. Right. But if you don't know what the dig is, you've missed it.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
you think, oh, cool post, and you're like, oh,
that was awesome.
No, it really was, and it was intended towards or at somebody. Mm-hmm. So
we can dig into it more next time. But he's got some information there on social media.
Poor people, rich people.
Okay.
Who lives longer?
Wow. Well, I mean, I guess I would just go with rich people probably live longer than poor people.
Okay. Why? Why do you think?
I would say they maybe have better access to medical, to health.
Okay.
I would wonder if maybe they just are more social, potentially have a stronger social crowd, but I'm not sure because those that are in neighborhoods of poverty probably have a pretty strong social network too. So,
okay, so this, I had to read this twice.
Okay.
Because of the years. American women in the top 1% of income live on average 10 years longer. 10 years. than American women in the bottom 1% of income. And for men, the gap is 15 years.
Wow.
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
I mean, you could be talking the age difference of 70 to 85.
Right.
You know, or 80 to 95.
50 to 65.
Could be 50 to 65.
And that's a terrible place to be. Yeah.
But this is interesting.
Okay.
So the wealthiest Americans' life expectancy is hardly affected by where you live for wealthy people.
Okay.
But for poor people, it's a completely different story. So you could take wealthy people and put them about anywhere
in the United States,
and they're going to survive.
Okay.
But when you take poor people, there are certain areas that they're going to survive longer. Okay? So I'm going to give you 4 options, and I want you to tell me which one you think would live the longest.
Okay.
If the city has a high level of religion,
Okay.
the city has low levels of pollution, the city has a higher percentage of residents covered by health insurance, and the 4th one, a lot of rich people live in the city.
Oh my goodness. I feel like I could justify any of them. I'm going to go with the pollution.
Pollution?
Yeah.
Okay. I kind of thought that, and then I kind of thought health insurance.
Well, that was, I think they all could be justified.
Okay, but
what's
we're
the
wrong.
answer?
The answer is a lot of rich people live in the city, where you have a lot of rich people. Because when you have rich people, they bring opportunity,
Sure.
right? They're going to make sure the best of the best is at their fingertips.
Right.
I mean, we're talking the extreme wealth. This is the 1% of top wealthiness. So not well-to-do middle class.
Right.
We're talking
Right.
very wealthy here.
People that can make opportunities.
Yep. Yep. So more rich people in the city means the poor live there longer. So poor people in New York City, for example, live a lot longer than poor people in Detroit because there's more rich people in New York City. Isn't that an interesting
That is
statistic?
interesting. That is
Okay.
very interesting.
All right.
All right.
So this one was kind of fun. So this book has a little bit of everything.
It does.
It
goes
has-
from one topic to the next, and it is so engaging.
Okay, so here we go. We're going to talk about being pregnant.
Okay.
Which I don't know why we'd want to talk about that when you're past pregnancy, but we're going to talk about pregnancy. So the top 5 searches in order for how to blank during pregnancy. What do you think people are Google searching the most? How to blank during pregnancy.
Wow. I probably would have Google searched how to sleep because I could never sleep.
So you weren't looking at how to have sex.
Well, no, I assumed you could do that. I didn't look that up. Did
Okay.
that take me to a porn site? Or
I don't know.
But I do remember searching, like, can I eat fish? Or, like, can I eat deli meat? Or whatever.
Deli meat. But it's so crazy because things change by the year that you're pregnant, right?
Yeah.
In the baby
Oh my
year,
gosh, yeah.
Okay.
So what was it?
The United States, how to prevent stretch marks during pregnancy.
Oh, yeah.
I did that.
I did that, too.
Cocoa butter all the way is what they said.
Yeah.
How to lose weight during pregnancy.
Oh, no, I didn't do
Yeah,
that.
that's a bit concerning to me,
sad, yeah.
actually. How to have sex during pregnancy.
Okay. Yep.
And you already said you did not do that. How to avoid stretch marks. So prevent stretch marks and avoid stretch.
them.
Yep, are 2
Yep.
words that people are using
Yep.
interchangeably.
Mhm.
And then how to stay fit during pregnancy. In India, it was how to sleep, do sex, have sex, take care. So what do you think happens in India?
You wanted to have sex.
A lot of sex. Okay, Australia is prevent stretch marks, lose weight, avoid stretch marks, sleep, and have sex. So Australia kind of mimics
Yeah.
us a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Britain, how to lose weight, prevent stretch marks, avoid stretch marks, sleep, and have sex. So they
yep.
kind of mimic us.
Yep.
Nigeria, how to have sex, lose weight, make love.
I think that one is sweet.
Oh,
I think
is it?
Yeah.
Really?
Stay healthy.
And stop
Stop
vomiting.
Makes me laugh.
Go for it. Tell us about South Africa.
Okay. Have sex, lose weight, how to prevent stretch marks, how to sleep. There we are. See, somebody in South Africa was
Somebody
like
wants
me,
some sleep.
and to stop vomiting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, can pregnant women in the United States eat shrimp, drink wine, drink coffee, take Tylenol, and eat sushi?
Those were what was searched for. Can a woman?
Yep, can pregnant
Can women
women
do that? Oh, I love it. Australia asks if they can eat bacon.
eat sour cream, eat
Yep.
feta cheese,
Yep.
eat cream cheese? So, cultural differences play into factor here.
Yeah. Oh, you know what though? In Germany, this is a great one. Go to the sauna and eat honey. That is one I did search. The honey one.
Really?
Yeah. Yep. I remember that. So-
Well, I don't even know what half of this means. Oh, I mean, I do know what ride a bike means. Brazil. I was like, what? I can't even pronounce that word, but it actually is pain relief.
Okay.
Can they dye their hair? Can they take another thing that I don't know what it means?
So dyeing your hair is another thing I didn't think you could do when you're pregnant.
Well, I don't know if you can, but I did it.
Well, I did it too, but
Are kids okay?
like so far so good. Just really interesting how cultures search different things, and how this data can be pulled to see what people are worried about or what they're concerned about. You know, I could see this big data being helpful for pregnancy courses or pregnancy classes at clinics or doctors where they could just address some of these things that are...
They would say, instead of asking me the questions, read page 189 and then come back to me whether or not you can have sex, whether you can dye your hair, whether you can...
But they can at least address it. I mean, if you were able to pull data on concerns of teens or concerns of whatever,
absolutely.
You could maybe address some of these things, whether it's 100% legit or not. At least you'd have a... What do they call it? A litmus test or whatever to kind of keep pulse on it. So, super interesting.
Okay, we got a fun word.
Oh my goodness, I can't even pronounce this.
So we Googled it to make sure we said it right, but it's called doppelgangers.
Doppelgangers.
But if you Google it, she says doppelgangers, doppelgangers.
So do Google it, please. And
because it is fun.
It is.
DOPPEL and then GANGERS. So what is a doppelganger?
I have no idea. I don't even think I still understand it. So can you
seriously?
Tell me about it?
Well, I was hoping you could repeat how I explained it because I'm not sure that I'm completely right. So there's my caveat. I might be wrong on this. So if David ever listens to this, Seth ever listens to this, he needs to tell me if I'm wrong. So basically, the really easy version of this, from what I understand, is that it's something that is similar to you, like another person who is really similar to you, or an item or something. So when you're on Amazon searching for a certain book, the search engine will recognize potentially that you like a certain book, and it might bring up more books listed on the side. It might recommend. And same with, talked about Pandora.
Yeah.
That when you're on the certain songs, it might recognize what songs you like and then offer that kind of music to you again.
So I wonder if that's like Netflix, how when you go in and you find a movie, when it comes back and it kind of says to you, new movies for you or new shows for you or whatever.
And the really funny part is Netflix is listed in here, and you haven't even read that part yet.
But it happens all over the place. I mean, I was just in my Amazon account earlier today, and clearly Amazon or Facebook or wherever, and clearly I've been shopping for swimsuits because the swimsuit I looked at on Amazon showed up on the side of my Facebook page.
Yeah.
It's like, or something really similar. Like,
well, I always thought it was interesting a couple years ago when something from Al-Qaeda where I live would pop up.
Yeah.
I'm like, how do they know where I live?
Right.
Why are they recommending somebody from Al-Qaeda? You know?
So that must be what this doppelganger is kind of about.
Yep. So and he talks about how he actually did it. He did it with actual people. And he found things that people were interested in that he was.
Okay.
And he searched for it. You know, it says, but suppose I search for my doppelganger in a database of hundreds of million people, I might be able to find someone who is really, truly similar to me.
Huh.
So that would be interesting because right now we're talking about product, right? I mean, we're referring to Amazon. You mentioned swimsuits, Netflix. But what would it be like if we were actually trying to find a person on Twitter who's got my same Twitter similarity handles that I would be connected with? It would be kind of fun to see, would I really connect with that person?
Right. Or how similar maybe to you
are
they?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so you were talking about books, and I am an avid reader, as are you.
Yep.
And interesting, in the book, he talks about what percent of people actually finish the books they pick up. So, I mean, we both read this section, so it kind of surprised me.
Well, and right at the beginning of the book, he talks about how most people don't finish a book that they read.
Right.
And I remember kind of thinking, gosh, that might be true in some ways. I tend to speed read through them because I want to get to the end. But I do know a lot of books that are purchased and bought, and I do wonder how many people, because I'll mention to somebody else that we each bought a book, and I'll say, oh, did you get that? Oh, I never finished it, or I haven't got to it yet. And I have a whole stack of books that I've never gotten to. And how many books have you ordered this year?
Okay, well, but here's how this works. This is what I think is so powerful. So I'm like you. I have a lot of professional books, I would say, a lot of informational books that I maybe skim or read kind of what he's saying, maybe the first 50 pages and then go on, or I pick through it. But in here he talks about how people finish novels at a rate of about 90%.
Yeah.
Which would so echo my world. I was telling her before that on Amazon, in just my Kindle and my ebooks, I've purchased 82 books in the last 18 months, and pretty sure I finished them all. But they're novels. They're fun reads. They're easy reads.
Yeah.
They're engaging for
Yep.
me. But like his statistics would show, that less than 10% of books are actually finished when they're books. Did you guys just see Steve walk through?
Sorry, my husband just, there he goes.
Yes.
We kicked him out of the house, but I guess we forgot to mention that you should walk through
He's
the
out there
windows.
staring at me like, oh no. Anyway.
World, meet Steve.
Yep.
This is my house. That's my real husband that I do
He's
have. Oh, good Lord.
Oh, God, love it.
Okay, so
Okay,
anyhow,
on
just
that
ignore
note-
the back of the window. Okay.
On that note,
Continue.
we are curious how many of you actually get to the end of our podcast. And
Yes.
if less than 10% actually finish a book.
Yeah, he said most people get to the first 50 pages,
Yep.
they get a few points, and they move on with their lives. And he actually goes on to say that a lot of the quotes that people use, and I'm notorious for saying research says or quotes,
Yep.
but I really do read the whole book.
Yep.
He mentions that a lot of people pull them out of the first part of the book,
Mm-hmm.
they get what they need out of it, and they move on. I don't know if they really get what they need, but they
That's
get
what I
enough.
said. Yeah.
They get enough.
Yeah.
So
Well, we have a challenge for you, though. If you get to the end of our podcast, give us a shout out.
Yeah, let
Send
us
us
know.
some feedback. Like us on Facebook. Follow us.
tag us in something. I mean, it would
yeah.
be fun to see how many people really get to the end of this podcast.
Yeah.
Or
So-
YouTube video.
Agreed.
So, okay, we're glad you're here with us, cutting through this crazy life. Head on over to iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher. Give us your rating and review, because that's what's going to make us better.
Mm-hmm.
Until next time,
Love
love your simple soul.